For decades, John Travolta has been one of Hollywood's most fascinating and enigmatic figures. Behind the dazzling smile, the charm, and the iconic dance moves that first captured the world in Saturday Night Fever and Grease, lies a man whose life has been filled with profound joy, unimaginable tragedy, and the quiet struggles of navigating fame. At 71, his choices and rare moments of openness reveal a story far more complex than the bright lights of the silver screen might suggest. While his career has often seemed effortless to fans, the life behind the camera has been a delicate balance of personal loss, public scrutiny, and evolving priorities that few outsiders have been able to fully grasp. Early years and the call of faith. Travolta's connection to the Church of Scientology began when he was just 21, during the early years of his acting career. At a time when his professional future was uncertain, the church offered him a framework, a sense of confidence, and a community that shaped his young adulthood. Over the decades, Travolta credited Scientology with helping him navigate Hollywood and supporting him through personal and professional challenges. He and his late wife, Kelly Preston, became one of the most visible celebrity couples associated with the church. Their loyalty and devotion often highlighted alongside their professional successes. For years, this faith appeared intertwined with their lives, guiding choices and providing a shared sense of purpose. A quiet shift. Yet life has a way of testing even the most deeply held beliefs. Travolta's connection to Scientology began to show signs of quiet evolution after several deeply personal losses. Observers first noticed subtle changes in 2023, when Travolta's absence from a high-profile Scientology gala sparked speculation. A man of his resources and fame, he could have arrived by private plane, yet he chose not to attend. Friends and insiders began sharing that he was redefining the boundaries of his social life, spending time with friends and colleagues outside the strict scrutiny of the church. While nothing suggested he had severed ties completely, the absence marked a significant, symbolic moment in a life long structured around faith and obligation. The tragedy that reshaped everything. To understand this transformation, one must consider the tragedies that profoundly affected Travolta. Central to this is the heartbreaking loss of his son Jet on January 2, 2009. The family was on a holiday in the Bahamas, seeking peaceful time away from the cameras, when Jet, who had a history of seizures, suffered a fatal seizure in the bathroom. The events that followed were chaotic and devastating. Travolta and Preston rushed to help, performing CPR as paramedics arrived. But despite their desperate efforts, Jet did not survive. This loss was not only deeply personal, but made public almost immediately due to Travolta's fame, subjecting the family to scrutiny and speculation at a moment of profound grief. Protecting privacy amid pain. The challenges didn't end with the loss itself. The family faced a wave of rumors, public commentary, and legal complications, including an extortion attempt, in which strangers tried to exploit their grief for financial gain. Through all of this, Travolta's focus remained on protecting his family's dignity and privacy. Friends later explained that this period marked a turning point in how he viewed public life, faith, and personal boundaries. The tragedy of Jet's death brought into sharp relief the limitations of even the most steadfast beliefs, including those in the Church of Scientology, and planted the seeds for a subtle but lasting reevaluation of priorities. Kelly Preston and shared strength. Travolta's marriage to Kelly Preston was not only a romantic partnership, but also a source of emotional grounding amid the pressures of fame. The couple met in 1987 on the set of The Experts, and their relationship grew quickly, culminating in a marriage that, though private, was deeply supportive and enduring. Together, they raised 3 children, Jet, Ella Blue, and Benjamin, and navigated Hollywood's highs and lows as a unit. Kelly often acted as a stabilizing presence, someone who understood the nuances of Travolta's fame and the complicated relationship he had with both the church and the media. Her guidance, partnership, and shared resilience were central to his ability to cope with the unique pressures of celebrity life. a loss that shifts perspective. When Kelly Preston passed away on July 12, 2020, after a private battle with breast cancer, it was a second devastating blow. Travolta's public statements thanked medical professionals and those who supported the family, but noticeably omitted references to Scientology. This subtle shift was significant, especially for those who had followed the couple's long-standing association with the church. It signaled a possible recalibration in Travolta's approach to life, faith, and personal priorities, reflecting grief's profound impact on the way he now navigated his world. Friends close to him noted that he became more introspective, protective of his emotional boundaries, and intentional about the choices he made in his personal and professional life. The weight of public scrutiny, Travolta's challenges were compounded by decades of public speculation and persistent rumors, many intertwined with his faith and private life. The Church of Scientology had often played a role in managing the narrative, protecting its image while simultaneously shaping the way members' stories were presented. The death of Jet, the extortion attempt that followed, and the constant public gaze underscored how little control Travolta truly had for the most intimate parts of his life. For decades, he had navigated these pressures quietly, relying on Kelly's steady presence to help him weather the storms that most outsiders could scarcely imagine. A life reoriented after Kelly's passing, Travolta's life underwent a quieter but profound shift. Friends observed changes in his social habits, his public engagements, and the way he devoted attention to his children. He began to spend more time on personal pursuits like flying his planes, cooking, and creating a stable, nurturing environment for Ella and Benjamin. Professional engagements slowed, focusing on projects that aligned with his interests rather than image management or career reinvention. Even appearances that revisited his iconic roles, such as the Grease sing-along event at the Hollywood Bowl in 2024, carried a sense of nostalgia without performance pressure, signaling an embrace of the past in a way that felt comforting rather than obligatory. Parenting and purpose. Travolta's attention shifted firmly to his children, supporting them while allowing them autonomy and personal growth. Ella Blue's music career, including her 2024 EP Colors of Love, received his encouragement without overbearing intervention, reflecting his desire to celebrate her accomplishments authentically. With Benjamin, Travolta created routines and a sense of stability that were particularly important after the family's previous losses. These moments of everyday life, skiing, cooking, and spending time together, carried immense weight, becoming acts of healing and grounding that replaced the intensity of his earlier public life. Professional choices reflect personal growth. Travolta's career choices reflect this transformation. Projects like Cash Out in 2024 were selected for enjoyment rather than career strategy. He no longer pursued roles to prove his relevance or recapture former glory, but instead chose work that aligned with his current priorities and pace of life. The energy he brought to these roles felt different, quieter, and more deliberate. In revisiting his iconic roles with a sense of play rather than obligation, Travolta demonstrated a newfound balance, honoring the past without being constrained by it, embracing professional opportunities that fit his life rather than defining it. Navigating faith and personal boundaries. While Travolta has not publicly confirmed distancing himself from Scientology, his behavior suggests a recalibration. Absences from major church events, selective social interactions outside the church, and subtle shifts in public acknowledgement point to a man quietly redefining the boundaries of faith, family, and personal autonomy. This evolution is not dramatic or confrontational, but instead reflects a deliberate focus on well-being, family, and self-determined priorities, showing that life after tragedy can lead to profound introspection and reorientation. Embracing vulnerability and quiet independence. The losses Travolta experienced left him vulnerable, yet his response demonstrates resilience and growth. He approaches life now with intention and independence, choosing the spaces he occupies, the work he accepts, and the people he surrounds himself with. Friends note a softness, patience, and presence that were less visible in earlier decades. These qualities reflect not just survival, but an embrace of life's fragility and a determination to protect what matters most: family, emotional stability, and the dignity of personal experience. The legacy of resilience. Travolta's story is one of both extraordinary success and deeply human struggle. It encompasses the joys of artistic accomplishment, the challenges of public scrutiny, and the quiet evolution that comes with grief and loss. His ability to navigate fame while protecting his family, embracing personal growth, and maintaining a sense of self highlights the resilience and complexity that have long characterized his life. Far from the glitz of Hollywood or the spectacle of celebrity culture, his journey reveals the human capacity to adapt, heal, and find meaning in life's quieter, more intentional moments. Life at 71. At 71, Travolta appears to have reached a stage of balance, blending work, personal interests, and family life in a way that honors his experiences and the people he loves. His choices reflect priorities shaped by decades of learning, loss, and reflection. Whether in supporting Ella's musical journey, nurturing Benjamin's growth, revisiting nostalgic moments with a sense of play, or quietly navigating faith and personal boundaries, he demonstrates a nuanced approach to life that emphasizes connection, presence, and thoughtful engagement over public perception or past pressures. A story of quiet transformation. John Travolta's story is ultimately one of transformation, subtle, deeply human, and guided by personal values rather than external expectation. His life reminds us that even amidst fame, tragedy, and public attention, there is space to redefine priorities, cultivate peace, and focus on what truly matters. The quiet shifts he has embraced are not just adjustments to circumstance, but reflections of a profound evolution. A man who has learned to navigate loss, honor his past, and center his life around family, purpose, and the joy found in simple, meaningful moments. Looking ahead. As Travolta continues to live in the public eye while maintaining a private life, he offers a compelling example of resilience, discretion, and the courage to quietly redefine a life once dominated by expectation and external pressures. He has chosen, slowly and deliberately, to focus on what brings him peace and fulfillment, cultivating emotional and familial stability while honoring the memories of those he has lost. The trajectory of his life in recent years suggests that this period is not about retreat, but about intentional living, a shift from obligation to choice, from public image to personal truth, and from performance to presence. Conclusion. John Travolta's life has been shaped by iconic films, the pressures of celebrity, profound losses, and the evolving relationship between faith, family, and personal autonomy. Behind the public persona lies a man who has faced unimaginable pain, navigated public scrutiny with grace, and quietly recalibrated his life to focus on what truly matters. Today, he exemplifies resilience, intentionality, and the human capacity to redefine oneself in the face of tragedy. At 71, Travolta's story is not just a tale of fame or scandal, but a deeply human journey of love, loss, and quiet transformation, reminding us that life's greatest victories often emerge not from accolades or recognition, but from the courage to live authentically, prioritize connection, and honor the people and values that matter most.